So here we go. How you doing?
Okay. Hey, Colt, I'm doing great.
Awesome.
It's been busy. It's been, of course, lots going on, of course.
Yeah.
And we've didn't get all caught up, but that's okay. We'll get a chance to do that.
Sounds good. Last time I talked to you was the beginning of COVID-19, and hopefully, actually, I won't even say anything. I won't even say anything. We'll see what happens.
Last, okay, you have a secret there that I don't know about?
Well, I don't want to jinx it. I'm hoping.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping it's almost over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's really nice seeing you. And I met you almost 2.5 years ago. And yeah, I know.
Yes.
Goes by fast.
And
And
I came out to meet with you.
yeah, we went to the Queen Mary, and that was
Yes.
awesome. I recently watched Titanic too, and I referenced the Queen Mary and how it's 100 feet longer, made by the same company. So that was cool to learn that from you.
I think they probably even did some filming on the Queen Mary
Oh, is that right?
for the Titanic.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, they used the Queen Mary for a lot of movies,
Yeah.
Poseidon Adventure and
Yeah.
all kinds of, because it's a period,
Yeah.
it's a historic ship,
Hmm.
and so they can make that period work out really well
Right.
for if you want to do a period movie,
Yeah.
historical.
I thought it was interesting how you said that they had plastic railing, and at the time, I thought that was so cool.
Oh, that was the new invention. I mean,
Yeah.
guys, and so soft to the touch. They
Yeah.
were used to wood and metal and,
Yeah.
and so now we have this nice, smooth, and only the rich could do plastic. Only the wealthy could do plastic.
Now that's that's
And
pretty cheap.
now
Yeah.
that's everybody has plastic.
Yeah, that's funny. Well,
Definitely.
this is the first time I'm interviewing you, so that feels interesting. And I'm
Great.
I'm really curious because I've talked to a lot of my friends and talked to them about how much of an influence you've been on me. And one of my favorite all-time favorite stories of yours is the time that you said to your mom, "I'm not going to pray." But before we get into that, like what has gotten you on this journey of helping people? And would you call yourself a self coach? I mean, that's what I've called you, a self coach, self
I'm a
differentiation.
Yeah, I'm a life and relationship coach.
Hmm.
I've been a therapist in a lot of different ways, social worker,
Hmm.
chemical dependency counselor, marriage and family therapist, and all that. But all of those kind of leave you in a small area that you can only work with certain people.
Yeah.
And a life and relationship coach, I can work with anybody in the world and don't have to worry about, and a license only extends to the edge of an state,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And it was just nice to be able to go out further. And also I thought my message and what I wanted to share with people was international. It's for all people, and I know there are different cultures and all that, but I've worked with people all over the world now.
Yeah.
Uh, and and they don't have the kind of information that I've been sharing, and I see a lot of those comments every day
Yeah.
where people said you changed my life,
Absolutely.
and I'm going, really? They go, oh, no, before your videos, I can't tell you how lost I was.
Right.
Now I feel like I have a direction and now I understand relationships better. And now because it's using a, Murray Bowen family systems type of understanding. And he was the grandfather of family therapy.
Hmm.
And he's much more popular, again, more popularized today by Harriet Lerner,
Hmm.
Jenny Brown, Brene Brown,
Hmm.
and the first time I ever heard Brene Brown, I thought, she know what she knows? Because I like what she's saying, and she's got well, come to find out, she's one of the best friends with Harriet Lerner, who wrote The Dance of Anger, The Dance of Intimacy, and she was one of the first ones to popularize a Murray Bowen approach to relationships. And so it was, as I began to do that, and now I've lost your question, which I
It's
can get
okay. I'm
talking too
loving
much.
No, I love it when you talk a lot like this. I'm just shaking my head smiling here. It's I think when I first heard you say that's just the way I see it. That's just you got that from Harriet Lerner, didn't you? I just realized that probably a month ago. I was like, that's Harriet Lerner right there. But I love it. It's a
That,
copycat league out here.
well, and everything I know is a copycat.
Yeah,
What I've
exactly.
learned is from people who've gone before me and who've
Mhm.
learned things before me and have grown and self-differentiated. Oh, I know you were asking me about life and relationship coach and what do I do? And I kind of specialize in the whole self-differentiation
Mm.
area. How do you self-differentiate?
Mhm.
And that's missing from so many therapies, I think, and it's missing
Oh
from
yeah.
even coaching, and I use that
Mhm.
for consulting and business. it,
Mhm.
it works everywhere
Yeah.
because everything is a relationship.
Yeah.
Everything's a relationship, and that includes businesses.
Mhm.
And if you can differentiate as a president or a leader or whatever in a company, if you can differentiate, you can lead like you can't imagine. You can see so much more. You can lead, makes better decisions. And same with me personally. And
Yeah.
just again, doing the work, talking about the family prayer kind of issue, of just learning how I wouldn't even have known how to do that
Yeah, right.
if someone hadn't given me a paradigm to be able to think what to do. I would have just become reactive,
Yeah.
and it just all gotten worse
You
in
know,
my family.
self differentiation has helped me start this podcast and eventually start a YouTube
Mm.
channel as well because I was so enmeshed, if you will, with what will other people think. And that was one area I was like, I kind of want to keep, I want to be private over here, Jerry. I don't want to really want to be a public figure, this, that, and the other. Clients kept tapping me on the shoulder, like, Colt, you should start a podcast. You should do a TED talk. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank
Nah,
you.
I'm good. I don't want to
And
be known for
yeah,
anything.
and I had to look
I
at
want
that.
to
I'm
be
like,
under the radar.
yeah. And I had to look at that and say, wait, people are telling me that I know what it feels like when something's calling me, and I hate that feeling when I Jonah, I suppose you could say, you feel trapped in the belly of a well. I want to feel free, and I want to do this thing, and it's important for some reason. It's important, and you know what? Doing anything the first time is worth doing badly, as I think I've heard you say before.
Uh, Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly.
Poorly, there it is.
Badly's okay. Poorly's fine.
Yeah,
It's just, but it's if it's worth doing, it's still worth doing.
yeah,
That's how I started doing my own videos, just like you're starting doing your own podcast videos, etc.
yeah,
And I felt this was worth doing,
yeah,
even if I'm the silly, crazy vessel
yeah,
to try to communicate this as badly as I might.
yeah.
It's still worth it.
is
Still worth
is
it.
is self-differentiation synonymous with empowerment, or is that like is self-differentiation a more technical term for empowerment? I just had that question come to me in this moment.
Well, and I think self differentiation, empowerment comes with self differentiation.
Interesting.
And you begin to feel empowered when you start differentiating.
Right.
And just like what you said, just the Harriet Lerner example, if I'm talking to someone,
Yeah.
and they're all got an issue with me or got an opinion or they're talking to me or they think I'm stupid or whatever they are
Mm-hmm.
and whatever they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I can be able to go, well, I see it differently. I've just empowered myself
Right. Right.
by differentiating that your thoughts are not my thoughts. My
Mm-hmm.
opinions are not your opinions.
Right.
And I just expressed that in one statement.
Yeah.
I've just had some detachment go on there. And with detachment, I'm able to feel stronger, because I can't control you or what you
Mm-hmm.
think or what you believe about me or anything else,
Right.
but I can be me.
Yeah.
And if I stay on my side of the tennis net and go, well, or I see that differently,
Mm-hmm.
or now I feel so much more free. I'm not enmeshed with you going, what do you mean I'm stupid? I'm not stupid. I did a lot of good things. I'm an important person. I should be valued. Blah, blah, blah. Now I'm defending.
Yeah.
And if I'm defending, I'm not differentiating.
Right. Yeah.
And how far does defending get you? Do you feel more empowered?
No.
No, because then you do all this defending and they don't change their opinion.
Right.
Now I feel like I just lost.
Yeah.
Well, because you lost the moment you started to defend.
Mm-hmm.
The game was
Absolutely.
already lost when you started.
Yeah.
So
And when
good
you
luck
say,
doing all the.
yeah, and it takes so much energy when you say that that's just the way I see it. You're also, when you say that's just how I see it, you're standing on your own 2 feet and you're not making the other person wrong for the way they see it.
That's right. I don't need to make you wrong. But there's also a freedom in I don't need to change your mind or change your opinion.
Yeah, that's freedom right there.
Would I like you to think differently? Well, of course I'd like that. I
Yeah.
mean, but we're always engaged in them changing us or I changing them.
Mm-hmm.
There's your enmeshment.
Yes. Yes.
And as I just put a video up called "Stop, uh, Stop Loaning or Borrowing Self."
Mm.
How to stop loaning or borrowing self. I just put that up, and I gave a bunch of examples at the end so you could see how I don't want to be, and even as the Bible says, be neither a borrower or a lender be.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to lend or borrow self from other people. And by me
Oh man.
saying, well, I see it this way, I just see it this way.
Yeah.
I've neither loaned you self, I've neither borrowed self from you, and you don't get to loan. And I'm not, and so I don't want to loan or borrow self
Man, it's so
to
nice
be okay.
talking. It's so nice talking to you right now. I just love talking about this. I do. I love talking about this stuff. It's so, I remember when I first
Maybe we're
found,
boring our audience, but we're enjoying it.
yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I'm like, wow, I haven't heard this from you specifically one-on-one in a while. And I miss it. And I can't wait to see you in Long Beach again, the Queen Mary. And
I'm ready.
And so I would love to, maybe I haven't come across this video of yours. So whatever,
It
let me
just
just,
went up like yesterday.
no, I mean, what I'm about to ask here is maybe you've made
Oh,
a
I'm sorry.
video already talking about this, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Okay.
Where did this, and you've already said this in so many words, this self-differentiating journey never ends. You don't
No.
arrive and like, I'm self-differentiated. It's self-differentiating. And where did this, I remember the church story. I think a pastoral counselor sat you down, but where did this really begin for you? If you could pinpoint it, could you pinpoint it?
I had a professor when I was in seminary,
Uh-huh.
and he was a psychology professor and a Lutheran pastor, and he was my kind of supervisor for
Yeah.
my graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go to his lectures, and I'd walk away just going, "How did what? How can he talk that way? I don't even. He's so right, but how come I can't think that way?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what does he know that I don't know? That's what I want to find out, because I just really am impressed with
Yeah.
how he sees life, talks about. He was just so self-differentiated,
Mm-hmm.
and he had done his own work, and he was a Bowen. And in his marriage and family work as a psychologist, he was also a marriage and family therapist,
Mm.
and he had learned Mary Bowen stuff,
Yeah.
and which I didn't know at the time. I mean, I may have heard Bowen's name, but
Sure.
didn't mean anything to me. And so that's when I went and talked to him about his systems thinking, his family systems thinking, his Bowen thinking.
Mm-hmm.
When I was depressed about working in my church and I was a pastor, I was depressed because I had these problems and all this enmeshment. And he knew I was having all that. He hadn't been my therapist.
Mm-hmm.
He was my supervisor. But he was smart enough to ask me that question, that first question that I've never been the same.
Yeah.
And do you remember that question? That first question was,
Yeah. It
what
was
role does your depression
depression
play in
play.
your
Yeah. 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 What role does your depression play in your church? And you're like, what
And I
kind of
go,
question is
what?
this?
What kind of crazy talk is that?
Yeah.
That is crazy talk. And you're a psychologist. Why are you asking a question like that?
Wait, let me say that
But
question one more time. What role does your depression play in your church? And that was his question to you. That it is a crazy question, but it's very an insightful question too.
I've never been the same since.
Yeah.
Because it just light started going off, and I thought, what role does my depression play in the church? And then he asked me the miracle question, which
Mm-hmm.
was a good one. if the depression wasn't there, what would you do?
Mm.
And then I became afraid and anxious
Oh.
because I knew if I wasn't depressed, I'd do this, I'd do that, I would address this, I would. And he said, so you might not want to give up your depression too quickly.
Oh my goodness. That is a mic
And so
drop.
I walked away totally screwed in the head,
The-
but yet freer and lighter than in one question. I
yeah.
felt like, oh my gosh, he's right on the money. What?
Yeah.
And I go, how do you know this? How do you know how to talk that way? How do you know,
Yeah. So
what? And that's what we.
could you rephrase it as, what is the payoff to your depression? How is it serving you? And then
And
go ahead.
and if you gave up your depression,
Yeah.
what are the downsides? If you were not depressed,
Yeah.
what would be the downsides?
Right. Or
What do you
what's
mean if I'm not depressed, what would be the downsides? I feel a whole lot better. I wouldn't be depressed. I
yeah.
mean, what are you talking about, uh, Dr. Stoneberg? What? I'd be happier.
Yeah.
And he said, no, let's think about this again. If I waved a magic wand and you were no longer depressed, what would be the downsides? And
Mhm.
then I started thinking of them.
Mhm.
Boom, boom, boom. And I'm going, that makes so much sense. And I'm not ready to face those things.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to stay in this one down role and be depressed. Now, I'm not saying all clinical depression is resolved that way. So,
Mhm.
some people say, oh, well, that sounds like depression is just easier. No, 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 no. I'm
Mhm.
talking about systems depression.
Right.
And depression, mental illness and depression plays a role in systems too. It
Mhm.
also may be biological. It also may be, I understand all that. I worked in a psychiatric practice for a number of years.
Mhm.
And so I understand the biochemical side of things, but he knew and he knew me.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going, oh, well, I would confront them. I would stop doing that. I
Mm.
would change this over here. I would not be worrying about the tithe and people voting with their tithe and walking out of the church. I would not be, and see, all that was frightening me.
Yeah.
So if I can deal with those, then the depression starts to lift.
Wow. That's so good.
And it was already starting to lift,
And so
even just
what
having that conversation.
was it, Jerry? Was it this insight? Because even though you had the insight, you were still afraid. You still had fear to actually
I did.
face it and deal with it. But was it so insightful? It was like, well, I guess I just have to feel the fear and do it anyway if I want to overcome depression, even though it's serving me.
No, and we have to make those choices. It's not
Right.
like the fear all went away. Like we
Right.
said, he just was a clarifier
Yeah.
and a problem formulating master.
Yeah.
And if you got somebody who's helping you with that, you've got lots of choices you can make.
Hmm.
In fact, he also makes it that, and you have a right to not give up your depression if you don't want to.
Right.
You have a freedom. You're totally free to stay right where you're at.
I tell this to
You're
clients.
not doing it for me. You're not
Yeah.
doing it for me, Jerry.
Yeah.
But if you want to address those things and that, so what I thought about when he said that and I saw all these downsides, I said, but those are all the right things I need to do
Hmm.
that I'm avoiding. Okay, Jerry, it's now on you.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You're free. You can either not do it or you can do it. Dr. Stoneberg said, you're free to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Stay depressed, not stay depressed, address those things, address your fears,
Yeah.
resolve those fears. Of course, then you go into, why are you afraid of confronting that couple?
Mm.
Could that have anything to do with your own family enmeshment
Yes. There we go.
and your own family issues, which it all did? All those issues had to do with my family and
Hmm.
what was inside me. So it was
Wow.
all, the answers are all in there.
Yeah.
And then I began to, one at a time, sort those out.
Yeah.
And at least I had a direction to go.
Mm-hmm.
and could examine those. And I knew, and also I was hooked in their family of origin issues because they both grew up with abusive fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I was Father Jerry or Father
Mm-hmm.
Cephas or whatever. And so they saw me as the enemy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
See, and I'm so codependent and so worried about all that. Well, now we're hooked.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're hooked. Now we're just enmeshed.
Your enmeshment is
And I
enmeshed.
can't get out. Yeah, and I can't get out. They can't get out. None of
Yeah.
us can get out.
Okay.
So I had to decide, do I want to get out?
And then on top of all that, they're used to you being a certain way, and then you have to also overcome that.
You're hitting it. And
Yeah.
there's some of the fears
Yeah.
which are not unhealable or they're recoverable. They're things we can do.
Yeah.
And you're right. And just like Brene Brown talks about
Mhm.
daring greatly, or we use our courage. At least I now know how to use my courage.
Amen to that.
I can use courage to do a lot of reactivity. Well,
Yes.
now I can use my courage to do things that really matter and
Me and
really
my
make a change.
Yeah, me and my friend are talking about this because he's on the opposite of spectrum I am. He will plan and plan and plan, analysis paralysis, right? Or is it
Mhm.
paralysis or analysis? And I'll just like, we just got to figure it out as we go. Figure it out as we go. And I like that about me, but it can be reckless sometimes, and it can be misapplied courage sometimes versus having courage that's calculated within differentiation, self-differentiation, like you just said.
Right. And then I have a problem formulation. I can understand what's going on.
Yes.
And then once you have it understood,
Mm-hmm.
then the person, Dr. Stoneberg, was saying, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
It's up. You're free to do it or not. That
Yeah.
it's an adult. You can do what you want. You can leave, you can stay, you can confront it, you can not confront it, you can stay doing what you're doing. You can, because you have a right to be you.
Yeah.
And even in those choices.
Yeah.
And so that was very freeing. Nobody was saying, Jerry, you need to do this. Now, this is what you need to do. And that's what I've usually gotten.
Right.
And he was, no, I'm just trying to clarify things for you.
Yeah.
And then if you want to talk about how you might be hooked with this couple,
Yeah.
we can talk about that, or what fear you have over people taking their tithes away,
Yeah.
or voting with their feet, or
Yep.
which pastors fear.
Yes.
And we can talk about that, because you might be able to direct your church in a better direction
Yeah.
if you had a better direction.
Right.
And then you wouldn't be at the mercy of these folks.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some upsides to doing that work too.
Yeah. What's it costing you to continue to have your depression play that role in your church? So you can ask that as well. Right.
And there's opportunity costs.
Yeah.
And opportunities missed.
Oh, can you say more on that? What do you mean? Like, what opportunities were you missing?
Because I was down, I felt defeated. I just kept, with other members and with these members, I just kept doing the same old treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
And not moving with where I wanted the church to go to.
Oh, wow.
I'm stuck in all this drama or chaos, or how are we going to get our mission done?
Right.
So I'm missing mission opportunities.
Yes.
I'm missing mission having 100 more people join the church, and then I don't have to worry about this couple. But I'm not going to do them because I'm not emotionally able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to make everybody here happy.
Yeah.
And I'm missing the 100 that could be coming in.
Yeah.
And being also, if I'm the pastor and I started the church with another man, and guess what? The church starts out being a church that would be attracted to us.
Mm.
Well, that includes our strengths and our weaknesses.
Yeah.
And so all these people are here because codependency, all kinds of other issues.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to love everybody into changing. And so they're all coming to get the love.
Yes. Yeah.
and then I need to overfunction and
Yep.
all that stuff. And
And
I
so,
did.
and so where did this take you? Because it sounded like you had about 4 things to work on right off the bat. I mean, you said so many times that Bowen Family Systems is a deep well. I imagine
Oh
it's a deep
my.
well for you personally. Like, where can this go? And you went on the journey, obviously.
Well, and he's saying, as we talked more, because I was very interested in what is
Mhm.
this all about here,
Yeah.
Ted, Dr. Stoneberg, and he goes, you might think about, or if you're able to um, resolve, well, and I'm making a long story short,
Sure.
okay?
Sure.
What you can't do with this couple or these problem folks is what you can't do with your own mother.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's okay. I got it. I got it.
And I'm going, yike, he's absolutely right.
So where do you
And I'm
start then?
going,
Do you start with the couple or your mother?
anywhere you want to start.
I would imagine you would suggest the couple to warm up for the mother, though.
And looking at the deeper root
Yeah.
of things, of going, oh, it's really not about them,
Mm.
this couple. It's about my stuckness with my family inside me,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
because they're just them. They have
Yeah.
their own issues. They have, and so that's where I begin to do the work. And that's where the family prayer comes in, and
Yeah.
starting to, I'm going to have to do some work there. And then, believe it or not, it starts bleeding over into my leadership and into
Yeah.
the church and into how I handle this couple, and how it starts changing things.
Yeah.
And I'm able to stay calmer and less reactive, because I would go into this situation around, the church situation, with so much anxiety
Mm-hmm.
because of my codependency, because of my anxiousness, and it would just debilitate me.
Yeah.
I just paralyze me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not leading, I'm just paralyzed.
Right.
And so I just avoid, or I just try to plead my case, or I just
Yeah.
try to defend. Or when other people come to me and say, Jerry, why are you treating them so badly? Which I wasn't.
Yeah.
They were just making it up.
Right.
And so I'm saying, well, no, I'm not treating them badly. I didn't do that. They say you never say hi to them. And there's never a time I've never said hi to them, that kind of thing. And so I'm defending myself because my own self-worth is at risk,
Mm-hmm.
and I have low self-worth or unworthiness or
Mm-hmm.
shame,
Yeah.
and so I got to defend all that.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking like I'm guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I began to realize that when they would come to me, another couple who was related to them,
Mm-hmm.
coming to complain how I was treating that couple, which I wasn't,
Yeah.
which wasn't true. And I would say, hey, and I began to learn that, you've known me you've known me in the church longer than you've known them in the church.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been friends for a long time. Is that who you see me as? Is that how you view me?
Interesting.
Well, no, we don't.
Yeah.
And we never have. That's why it's so confusing, Jerry. And I'm going, it should be confusing,
Yeah.
but I cannot resolve it for you.
Wow.
You're going to have to decide.
Wow. That's you really not giving your power away, isn't it?
It's not mine to fix.
Yeah.
They were wrong. They spread lies. Hey, if you want to believe them, you have a right to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, it was not about the facts. It was all about the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to go at it with the facts.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Yeah.
That doesn't usually go anywhere.
I remember hearing you say that I forget what video it was, but you said, man, I never thought I'd be free of this anxiousness around people, around relationships. And
Never.
feel
Never thought I would.
you never thought you would, and you found this freedom. Obviously, again, this is a journey for the rest of your life, where you can constantly continue to self-differentiate and find more empowerment, if you will, find more freedom. And how long did it take you to on this journey to find this space of like, I'm good with me, I'm with me? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been working at it since 1979.
Yeah. With Ted.
With Ted.
Yeah.
And and it's just been a slow work.
Yeah.
There have been plateaus, there have been ups, there have been some downs, of course, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I know where I'm going. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
helpful. You can go through the hard times or the difficulties if you know where you're going and have some sense. Now, maybe you won't do it as well
Yeah.
sometimes, but that skill can be learned.
Yeah.
And then I began to get more sense of self, more, and it helps with self-esteem because I understood the system better.
Mm-hmm.
And reading the book Generation to Generation by Edwin Friedman was a lifesaver because that helped me with the church as well. And he suggested, hey, go read Edwin Friedman.
Yeah.
Marriage and family therapist, pastoral
Mhm.
counselor, and author,
Yeah.
Edwin Friedman, and Generation to Generation. And it's all about synagogues, churches, and whatever. And he uses Bowen family systems to explain it all. And then I read through it and go, oh my gosh, this is, he's singing my song here.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, so I've been turning right when I need to be turning left.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I didn't have the map.
Yeah.
And I'd keep turning right out of anxiety, and it would always end up biting me in the behind.
Yeah. Right.
But I didn't see which way I was turning. You're just doing what the gut feeling tells you.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going, oh, so if I turn left at this point, that could change the system. So I started turning left.
Yeah.
And kept turning left. And things start to clarify, things start to get better because someone gave me a map.
Yeah.
And then myself starts to become more confident and more, and I'm less attached, less enmeshed, more detached. I'm not more uncaring, not less caring. It's just you can do more caring if you're more detached.
Yeah. I've been struggling with that because you've given me a map in many ways that has been very empowering and very energizing. I mean, even just listening to you right now, it's so cool to see how energized you are just talking about this, right? It's energizing.
I get too enthusiastic.
I love it. Keep it going. Charisma is great. And I struggle a little bit because I can tell people are maybe think I don't care. But honestly, I feel free. I feel like I don't need you to, like, does that make sense? Like at work, even sometimes I kind of take a backseat approach. I was like, yeah, the client's going to do what they're going to do and we'll be here for them. Or I hear you,
Right.
and I have to like make sure I'm checking myself where I'm like, wait,
yeah, why aren't you caring more about this person? Well, because I'm not as enmeshed with this person, and I can actually be more of help if I'm not.
Yes. Thank you.
Just think about the second couple that I talked to who was relatives of the first couple.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, well, you'll just have to decide.
Yeah.
But does Jerry not care about us? Does he not care about this issue? Does he not care about that first couple?
Mm-hmm.
No, I care about all of you.
Yeah.
It's just what you're asking me to do is not helpful.
Yeah.
It won't help the situation.
Yeah.
You think the question you have and me giving you that answer will help something.
Yeah.
I know it's the wrong question.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I going to answer the wrong question?
Mm-hmm.
That will only just keep things, well, let me tell you, no, they're not telling the truth. That's a lie. I always say hi to them. I didn't treat them badly.
Yeah.
I'm answering the wrong question.
Yeah. Right.
and then we all part, give a good hug, and go away, and it still goes on.
Still goes on. Yeah. It's reinforced.
It's reinforced.
Yeah.
It's even reinforced.
And you would see that when you kind of took a step back. You said, you know what? Like, we're answering the wrong question, and you can go figure that out. You can go fix this. You notice you started doing that in your own family. Started, I mean, you didn't have to.
No, no, I could have stayed just where I was.
Answering questions you didn't want to answer.
Yike.
Yeah.
And I hit bottom and got it, had to change. I wanted to change.
Yeah. What was your bottom for that, for your family?
Well, I think it came with like the troubles I was having with the church and my leadership,
Yeah.
and my own life and my own codependency, and
Mm-hmm.
all of that was all kind of mixed in together.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, I'm just not happy, and I'm trying to please everybody, and I'm not winning at that game.
Yeah.
I want to win. I want to win at this game, and my only goal was to save everybody in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and all the impossible things that I can't do anyway, which was that codependent grandiosity,
Ooh.
uh, which I had, that I'm here to save everybody. Well, isn't that a little grandiose?
Yes, it is.
I didn't know you were here to save everybody. I didn't know that was your mission.
I heard a quote
You know,
recently. It said, people pleasing is the death of 1,000 cuts, a little cuts.
oh, it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And in fact, if you read in The Failure of Nerve by Edwin Friedman, he has a whole chapter on why sympathy and empathy is so dangerous
Wow. I've
and
heard you say
ruins
this. Yeah.
society and all kinds of things. Now, does that mean I don't know that there are people that don't have much empathy? No, I understand the importance of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
So does Edwin Friedman. So did he. I mean,
Yeah.
but he's saying it also can be, well, and in fact, his notion is empathy is hidden anxiety.
Mm. Wow.
And he's saying, and if you can deal with your anxiety, you could help people more
Right.
rather
Yeah.
than just being empathetic,
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you
which
mean.
could hurt.
Yeah.
That's
It,
enabling.
it,
That's,
it almost reminds me of therapists that their whole therapy, I guess, paradigm is this sounds like I hear you, I feel you, I feel you. We're not really getting any work done, but we're validating. We're validating.
we're validating.
Yeah.
I'm going to build you up. I'm going to, and build you up is I'm going to loan some self to you.
Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes.
I
Thank you.
don't, I don't want someone to build me up.
Right.
If you're building me up, you're doing me harm.
Right. Me and my buddy,
And does that mean I don't compliment people? Does that mean I don't? No, I do all those things, but you got to remember it's the underneath part. It's the what's behind the building up.
right.
I build you up because I feel anxious about you being down.
Yes.
That's why I'm building you up. It's my anxiety that's doing the build up.
I revealed that to a client of mine recently, and we were working through some of her trauma, and I told her what my brain was telling me. I just exposed it. I was like, hey, right now, you know what my brain's telling me? It's wanting to fix this right now. It's wanting to fix
Absolutely.
you right now.
I want to fix you.
I want to fix you, but I'm not going to do that, because this is a moment of you finding more resilience, of you finding more skills and tools. And right now you might just need to cry. And I'll hold space for that, but I'm not going to try to fix
And
this.
I'll hold I'll hold space for that because I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have all the answers. And I'm just human like you.
Yes.
And I do feel a desire. I don't know how many clients I've talked to and I've said, I really would like to fix you now,
Yes.
but I'll try to attempt to not do that.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Because you will be better off if I don't.
Yeah.
You really will. Now, that doesn't mean I won't do nothing. I will do nothing.
Right.
But I know that's not the intervention that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the needed intervention.
Right.
Is me building you up or fixing you, or because if I fix you, then you're the turtle that I've just cut the shell off of.
Oh,
and
my
now
goodness.
I own you.
Yes.
And now you have no defenses. I've just fixed you.
That is such a dark thing that's cloaked in empathy, isn't it?
And that's what Edwin Friedman talks about in his sympathy empathy chapter.
I don't want to. Well, you can take care of yourself, can't you, Jerry? You can say I don't want to talk about this, Colt. Um,
I could
I have a
maybe.
I have a criticism of therapy, and I'm curious what you think.
Okay.
It's
And okay.
I feel like it's a great business plan to pretty much do talk therapy, validate, not do hardly any work because it does feel good to validate, but really we're just paying someone to, like you say, to give themselves to us, if you will, and it's addictive. And I see this a lot in therapy, and I feel uncomfortable even saying it out loud, but it's true for me. It's how I see it,
No.
Jerry.
No. Oh, well, I would agree with you tremendously. And in fact, that's why the training and supervision I had from AAMFT,
Yeah.
the supervisors were excellent
Mm,
because it was about every problem
mm,
any of us brought with clients always ended with our issues,
mm.
not the clients.
Say that one more
And that
time.
was the
Yeah.
best supervision I ever got. I present a couple that I'm having trouble with, or a
Sure.
family.
Uh-huh.
It's not the couple. It's it is the couple. I mean, they have a problem and I don't know what to do with them. So
Uh-huh.
here I'm presenting this in a case. It's always it's my issue.
Uh-huh.
It's not the couple's issue. It's my issue that I get stuck on. And
Oh,
that's why the training was so helpful.
yeah.
And and I liked that. And so they weren't just about, oh, well, just say, oh, these things. I mean, it doesn't mean they didn't give us ideas or
Right, right.
thoughts or, and then maybe some suggestions and stuff. But it was basically, it's not that you yeah, it's not that you come up with the right technique or the right answer.
The right
It's why are
intervention.
you stuck?
Mm.
It's why are you stuck? Uh
So
hold on,
say that you're
yeah,
stuck with
hold
a.
on just a second, Colt.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Sorry,
It's okay.
had to deal with that real quick.
No, it's all good.
Now we're back.
So let's say that you have a couple that you're working with, and let's say with these supervisors that you have,
Mhm.
and you're getting stuck because the husband is more married to his mom than he is to his wife, and he doesn't know how to put those boundaries down, and it's frustrating you, Jerry, right? It's like, man, why doesn't he just
I,
why
why
doesn't he
didn't he
just
just
set the
fix it?
boundary? Yes,
Right,
stop.
set the boundary, and I can't get him to set the boundary.
I can't get him to set the boundary with
And
his
the
mom.
wife's upset,
The wife's upset.
and
Yeah.
the wife wants her and I to fix him. So we have a triangle,
Yes.
and I don't know what to do with this couple.
What would they say to you? Like, what? How would they frame that? Point it
What
back at Jerry.
triangle are you stuck in, Jerry?
Really?
Well, I'm here to talk about this couple. I'm not here to talk about me.
Yeah.
And they're going, this is about you. It's
Yeah.
all about you.
Yeah.
Because if you were clearer, you'd know what to do with them.
Mm.
If you were more self-differentiated, you wouldn't be stuck right now
With them.
with them.
Yes. Okay. I get that. So if you were more selfed, if you were more with you, then you wouldn't be stuck in a triangle with them, for instance. It could not, maybe
Correct.
it's something else, but perhaps a triangle, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, when I am stuck in this triangle, and now I feel the heat from the wife, she's complaining my husband
Yeah.
just won't let his mom go,
Yeah.
and all those kind of things. And then I'm frustrated because I'm saying, well, why doesn't he let his mom go? And so now her polarity, her emotional systems energy starts going through me. I start heading it to the husband
Yep.
because I have issues with my mother and how I'm overly enmeshed with her.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't resolved it for me. How am I going to help resolve it for him? How am I going to help guide him with that?
Right.
That's going to be a blind spot.
Yes.
And so they're going, let's deal with that blind spot. Then you won't be stuck the next time you have a couple of it.
Right. Right. Sorry, my phone's going off.
No, that's all
Let me
right.
turn that off.
But that's, and so they say, because that's the way supervision I think should work.
Yeah.
Because then I'm growing so I can begin to work with more problems, more issues, more as I change and grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
And then I
so,
get the next couple, I've
yeah.
resolved it for myself better with my own mother. Guess what? I
Yep.
now don't have to take them as a case to be
Yeah.
supervised.
Right. This is super fascinating because it's just, you said before, you can't take people where you haven't gone or where you haven't resolved. And I concur with that so much.
Or
And
you'll take people where you're at.
oh, there we go.
And that's just as dangerous.
Yes.
You
Where
can't
you're,
take them where you haven't gone, and you'll take them where you're at.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if I'm not at a great place,
Yeah.
haven't you seen therapists do that?
Yeah. Well, I have a question about a technique. So
Excuse me.
sometimes I am so fascinated when I'm working with families or I'm working with couples. Sometimes I'll just say, hey, can you tell each other that, not me? And I'm surprised
Okay.
by how effective that is sometimes. And I don't really
Oh, just
understand. I'm like,
what you
why are you telling me? Tell her. And I'm kind of strict about it. I kind of feel rude sometimes.
right,
And
right. That
it's
right. Well, because they they have come
yeah,
to pay you to be in a therapeutic triangle.
yes,
And so, and my hunch is they're not here because they're fully self-differentiated. My
sure,
hunch is they're not here because they don't have issues.
yeah,
And I'm not blaming them for that. I know what it's like to have issues. I still
yes,
do.
yes,
So it's not a judgment thing,
yeah.
but I do understand why they're here. And they would like you and they want to enlist you to fix the problem
Or have me co-sign.
or have you co-sign.
Yeah,
That's right. If
and I
you'll just co-sign for me, then they'll get it that we're both on the same page and they'll
yes,
really hear this.
and I don't do that. And I think a lot of that's obviously the work I've done with you and some Yalom stuff, some other things. But it's interesting how I have them. Hey, can you actually look at each other and talk and let's figure out what works and what doesn't work? And it's like they're looking at each other sometimes for the first time. They're almost blushing. I'm like,
Well,
is it the first time y'all like looked at each other? It,
yeah, we don't talk to each other.
yeah.
We talk about each other and at each other.
Yes.
We don't talk to each other.
Right. And then so I take myself out of this triangle that they want to keep putting me in, and I'm like, okay, come back.
Come back
Yeah.
here. And also, if I allow that to continue on
Yeah.
and think I'm doing work with them,
Amen.
it's because I see it as normal for me.
Yes. Then we're
That's
lecturing.
where I'm doing it somewhere.
Yeah.
Where am I doing this at?
Yeah. And we're lecturing at that point, and we're textbook booking to them on
Right,
how they can
right.
get.
How they
Let me read you page 80 from Harville Hendricks. And that's a great
and
book.
it's a great book. And let me tell you, I'm knowledgeable
Yes.
and I'm a professional
Yes.
and you've come here to get my professional opinion on the pedestal
Yeah.
and I'm going to pontificate up here.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is music to my
And if you don't do it, it's because you're failing.
Jerry, I
Not
love.
because my intervention's failing,
Yeah.
you're failing.
Jerry, I really, really, really love getting out of the way when I'm working with clients, whether it's group therapy, whether it's one-on-one
Oh yeah.
couples. I love getting out of the way. It's so freeing. And it sounds weird. It's like, aren't you the expert? Well, okay, maybe. But I love,
Oh, and I used to train therapists. I still do some supervision.
yeah,
And I'm always get out of the way.
yeah,
You're the problem
yeah, yeah,
for
definitely.
this interaction. they're just being them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they know. But you're the one in the way.
Yeah.
And to be caring and why are you in the way?
Yeah.
What is the issue, or what's going on with you that you're in the way?
Yeah. Definitely.
That's what we should talk about.
Yeah. Wow.
Why do you need to defend the wife against the husband, or protect the husband against the wife? Or why do you need to do that? It's not your marriage.
Yeah.
And because you're still protecting or defending, probably somewhere in your family of origin. But that's
let's
something that should not be discussed.
Let's go to this place where, cause I had a couple friends say, I want to hear that story because I've told them the story. How did you get to this place where you said, Ma, and if you could just break down the whole story about the prayer.
Family prayer.
Yeah. I love this story.
That was one of my beginning moves in self-differentiation, which was very difficult for me. Other people might find it absolutely nothing, and they'd say, well, I have no trouble saying that. And that's fine. Everybody's issues are different, and we have anxiety about different issues depending upon our family. And what may be little to you, you may have an issue that's big to you, and I may think, I wouldn't have any trouble with that.
Yeah.
But where we have trouble is where we have trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So and this was an issue for me because it was scary. And my father had passed away, and he passed away at 85, I think. Mm-hmm. And so mom would pray or dad would pray at our family gatherings. Mm-hmm. Well, I had become a pastor, of course, and I noticed this edge towards now, whenever we have any kind of prayer that needs to be said, everybody looks at me. And I'm going, wait a minute, I'm not the family pastor.
Yeah.
I do that work over there I'm just a family member here.
Yeah.
I'm not the official family priest or whatever. But that's a role they wanted me to adopt and take on. And I didn't want to take that role. And I thought, well, this may be a good practice for self-differentiation. How am I going to handle this?
Yeah.
Because I know my mom, I fear, is going to be upset. My brother's going to be upset. Everybody's going to be upset if I say no to mom when she turns to me and says, okay, Jerry, would you like to return thanks? And I just better. There's just a feeling that you're on now, Jerry.
Yep, you're on.
Do your shtick. And it's, and I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I'm not being a good Christian.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not loving my family like I should love them. Would Jesus go ahead and say the prayer? What would Jesus do? And just on and on and on.
Oh man, that's so good.
And it was all enmeshment thinking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I determined, okay, I'm going to make a self-differentiation move here. And this is going to be difficult because I'm going to, what do I want to do? Mm-hmm. Is the first thing I wanted to ask. What do you really want to do, Jerry? Do you not want to do it? Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it once a year? What do you want? Mm-hmm. Let's at least find that out.
Yeah.
And so I kind of thought about what I'd feel comfortable with or not. Mm-hmm. But Jerry, you're an adult. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You have a right to say no. Yeah, but this is my family and they'll all be looking at me and, thinking, what kind of an awful pastor are you?
Yeah.
So it was about shame and guilt and roles and all that thing. And so I decided I was going to make a change, and I decided what I wanted to do. The only thing I wanted to do is tell mom, I do not want to be the one who does the family prayer. Mm-hmm. That is what I came to. I did not want to do that. And that didn't mean in the future I could never do it, but I thought I just better shut down the role, and then maybe I can say, hey, Mom, I'd be happy to pray for this meal now if you'd like me to. But that's on my terms,
right?
Not on the family's terms. Mm-hmm. So I can do that later, but I need to shut down this role and expectation. And so I talked to Mom, and I told her, hey, Mom, I just want to tell you, and stayed calm and tried to stay lower my anxiety and just say, I want to tell you ahead of time, Mom, before we get to the meal, I just want to let you know, I really don't want to be the one who prays
Well, that was nice of you to
for
prepper.
the meal. No, and I think if you're going to make systemic or differentiating moves, there's nothing wrong with having preparatory
Yes.
because you've been in the system this way and that's what's normal.
Yes.
So I'm giving people an opportunity to accept anew and to
Yes.
plan for that rather than going, well, I shouldn't have to say that prayer. I'm just going to say, screw off. I'm not going to pray
In the
there.
middle of what the
No,
opportunity. No, you prep them. You're wise about
you,
it.
yeah, I'm going to be caring,
Yeah.
wise, and self-differentiated
Yes.
is what I want to do. So that means I do care that they've been used to me functioning in a certain way for a
Yes.
long time.
Versus I'm going to be the rebel here because I'm self-differentiating. Damn it.
And I can do that. No,
Yes.
now you're being not self-differentiated by being a Viking
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than a victim.
Bravado, right?
So, bravado and all that.
Yeah.
So you're reacting now to the other side.
Yeah.
And I wanted to react in the middle, the 90-degree mark.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or respond in the middle. So I go to her and say, hey, I just want to let you know that I don't. And she just was oblivious, didn't want to hear it, just
Mm-hmm.
talked on about something else. Okay, well, okay. I at least told her. So then I did it again in preparation as we got closer to the meal. I just want to let you know that, Mom, that's not something I want to do.
Yeah.
And she's going again. I could tell it's not having any impact on her.
Mm-hmm.
This is not having an impact. And so then we get to the meal, and I'm going, now I got to prepare for that because I can tell Mom is oblivious and she's not going to change her. She's going to do the same thing she's always done.
Of course. Yeah.
She's not wanting to change that.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do when it hits? What's my plan? Without being reactive, without being overly reactive or angry or all that, what am I going to do? Because I think Mom's going to turn to me in the same way and go, you're on. And so I thought, okay, well, my plan is if she does that, which I assume she probably will, what am I going to say? And so I worked on what I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
in front of everybody, which was very anxious for me. It was very fearful. It was very, because nobody did that in our family. That is not what we did.
Yeah.
And so then I decided I was going to, when she turned, I'm going to say, well, Mom, we had this conversation and that I had shared with you that that's not something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then my plan was to say nothing more, to stay silent. Don't defend yourself. Don't give the reasons. Don't just, you'd already said that. And I wasn't shaming Mom.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say, and Mom, I told you that I
In
wasn't
front
going
of
to do
everybody.
that
Yeah.
in front of everybody. And
Yeah.
no,
Yep.
we have had this discussion and I let you know ahead of time.
Yep.
But that's not something I was choosing or wanting to do.
Wow.
Now I have to sit in the silence and survive it, thinking, oh my gosh, what is everybody gonna, is the
You
whole
didn't
world
die.
gonna come apart? I didn't die. My brother didn't die. I think everybody was uncomfortable for a while. And for a moment, and of course it seemed like a year, it was probably only a minute or seconds or something, but it seemed like a year to me because I wasn't fixing it. I wasn't saying, and so what we should do is this.
Yeah. You just.
Well, why am I in charge of what we should do for all this? Aren't we all family members?
Yeah.
And everybody, other people's are Christians here. They can pray.
Yeah.
What's the, why do I gotta
Yeah.
orchestrate all this?
Right.
And so I just told her where I was at. And then she then decided to go ahead and pray. And she prayed, which was fine. And just went fine. And the family has never been the same.
Wow. That's incredible. I told this story to my friend and he started sweating while he was listening to it.
Oh,
He's like, oh my, I don't know if I could do that. He had that same kind of like, and I was like, he did it. He did. I wasn't there, but he did it.
no different than saying, no, we can't come on Christmas Day, but
Yes.
we could come on Christmas Eve, or we could come the day after Christmas.
Right.
Try to tell your parents that in a nice, calm
Yeah.
way, when it's always been, you better be here with your kids and bring them
Hmm.
over on Christmas so that we can all celebrate together as a family, as you should.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's where we practice. And
Hmm.
I got support too. I was able to talk that through with a therapist
Yeah.
and work on that so I could feel, but it didn't mean I had no anxiety or no fear, but
Hmm.
I had more courage. And I also realized I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't hurting anybody. I wasn't, I wasn't trying to do anything bad.
One of the
This was not intended for badness at all.
Yeah. One of the points I love that you make is like there's this well-intentioned self-help kind of area that's like, you just need to stand your ground and do it, honey, or whatever it is, right? Just be the
Right.
man you were meant to be and make people deal with you. And that comes from a genuine, place of self-development, but it can be very ineffective. And that's what you're kind of speaking against, is this idea of like
Right.
doing it effectively, because you can self-differentiate effectively. It doesn't have to be this flipping over tables. And maybe you might have to go no
I,
contact, but you don't have to flip a table
right. You
over.
might have to. And, but I don't want someone to have so much power over me that I have to flip over a table,
Great.
because I'm saying that's not you being victorious. That's you reacting to the power you feel they have over you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Deal with that
Yeah.
problem.
Yes. Definitely.
Don't flip over the tables and think you won.
Yeah.
You lost because you flipped over the tables.
Yeah. It's so
If
good.
I
And,
can,
I've been there. I've been there where I'm like, I'm going to be
we
courageous
all
once and
have.
for all.
Me too.
Yeah. Once and for all. And, it's embarrassing. I can't believe it's already been an hour. How do you have like 10 more
Oh
minutes,
my
Jared?
gosh.
You need to go.
Sure. No, go right ahead.
You know,
This has been enjoyable. Probably been talking too much, but
no, you're doing, this is amazing. And I thank you so much for your time as well. And I'm glad you're going to share this with your community. And
definitely.
I've been fascinated by genograms, and you did a genogram for me, and Jenny Brown's work breaks down genograms as well. And sometimes I have like this almost discouraged feeling of how deep the well of Bowen family is. I'm like, there's just too much. But at the same time, I'm so fascinated by it because I do a just a decent genogram, and it provides so much insight. I'm like, I wonder if I could do a great genogram, how much insight there would be. You know what I mean? Like, if
Right.
people do these genograms on their own without a therapist? Is that something you recommend?
Well, I of course I do genograms for a lot of clients, even for people that I do consulting for business wise, even
Okay.
leaders,
Yeah.
because I'm going, I know you're president of this company,
Yeah.
but this company is your family.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever we're going to learn over here, we're going to learn over here. Whatever's troubling over here is going to probably troubled over here.
Yeah.
It's all connected. But then I also know, Bowen, and my understanding at the end of his career and towards the end of his life, he was saying, genograms are a limited tool.
Mm-hmm.
They don't share everything that's going on.
Right.
And so he kind of got away from the genogram
Mm.
towards the end, going, it's a helpful tool, but it doesn't show all the dynamics that are. It's a static thing.
Yeah.
Which it is. And so I don't have people go do your genogram. I will do the genogram with them because I want to see the snapshot. And then also, if I look at the genogram, and then it all comes back to me, and real quickly. So it's a tool for me in working with people.
Yeah.
But people can do their genogram work, that if they want to pick up the book by, I forget, McGoldrick. I forget her name. She does a book on genograms,
Yeah.
and she's kind of the main. And you can do that, and you can learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all just about learning your system.
Yeah.
You're trying to learn your system.
Yeah.
It's not learning all the lines and dashes. It's learning your system.
Or how to do a genogram perfectly, aka like it's a family tree on steroids, by the way, and
Right.
seeing the dynamics.
Right.
And this is kind of what we've been talking about this whole time. It's like, man, if you don't get a good look at what we're dealing with, then the family you'll be the puppet to the system, and you'll be the marionette. And we're trying to bring some insight through self-differentiation language, and genograms can be a part of that, working with a self-coach like Jerry Wise, because when you can do that, you can start taking off your strings and start becoming more real.
Well, and when we're talking about self-differentiation,
Mhm.
which is not a goal, it's a way of life.
Yeah.
And it's a practice. And it's
Yes.
and will I ever be a 10 on the self-differentiation scale? Probably not.
Right.
Maybe I'll only go up 2 points from
Mhm.
what I was born and what I was inherited from my family.
Right.
I started with the 2, and maybe I'm at a 4 now. I don't
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
but I'm happy to be a 4. I'd say I'd much rather be a 4 than a 2. May
Yeah.
not be a 10, but
Yeah.
boy, the 4 sure helped.
Yeah.
That we want to self-differentiate. And so the genogram and those kinds of things help me to talk about the family super self,
Mm.
which we have been a part of and continue to be a part of.
Yeah.
And how do we begin to differentiate from that super self
Yeah.
that is the family?
Yeah.
And whenever you're part of a super self, there's not enough self
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
because you're trading some self for the super self.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Playing roles are a borrowing of self.
Mm-hmm.
The
Caretaking.
family's loaning self to you. You
Yeah.
play this role.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's I love this. I love this work, and I'm curious whether you're a therapist, someone that does this work like we do, or just someone that wants to learn how to self-differentiate. What your channel, your YouTube channel, Jerry Wise, relationship systems. Where else do you point people? I know you love Jenny Brown,
Jenny Brown,
growing yourself up. Billy Gilbert.
Roberta Gilbert, Jenny Brown book, or she has one book. Harriet Lerner,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I do other Edwin Friedman,
Mm-hmm.
even Murray Bowen's book,
Yeah.
Peter Teitelman,
Yeah.
and the books he's done on self-differentiation, triangles, emotional cutoff. And he's editing the book, so he's got all these great chapters in there where they talk about different aspects of all of those.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine having a book that thick on just triangles, emotional triangles?
Right.
He talks about all the in-depth of how triangles work and
Yeah.
why we do them and all those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So Peter Teitelman, Titelman, I believe.
Yeah.
And in fact, I have a reading list. If somebody wanted to get a hold of me
Yeah.
and just ask me for those resources, I would send them to them.
Yeah, absolutely. You did that for me as well. Yeah, this is Jerry, I really appreciate this. You've been an amazing person in my life, even though I've known you for only like 2.5 years, and I really appreciate your time. And do you have any kind of last, maybe an invitation for people to go on this journey of self-differentiation? Any thoughts, any quotes? No pressure.
Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Self-differentiation is worth doing.
Yeah.
Even if you do it poorly.
Yep.
It's better than doing something wrong well.
Right.
And everybody's got and that's the flipping over tables.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something wrong really well. Well, let's do something poorly that really matters and really works.
Yes, I love that. Good stuff, Jerry. Thank you so much.
I wanted to mention I do have a workshop coming up
Let's hear it.
on April 10th, Overcoming Shame and Guilt Through Family of Origin Work. On April 10th, you can go to my website and sign up for that if you're interested.
I want to encourage people to do that. It's your workshops are amazing. And
you can purchase or rent all the previous workshops.
Okay.
I have on there too.
Awesome.
reactivity, getting your family of origin out of you,
Yep.
those kind of basics to self-differentiation.
Yeah. And one of my favorite videos I would like to recommend people go
Uh-oh.
to for Jerry Wise. Well, I have two. First one, calmness is everything.
Oh, that was a special one.
That one is darling. I love it. And the second one, I don't know if you're going to like this one, Jerry, is dysfunctional families eat their own. So
Oh no, that's been one of my most popular ones.
that's a great one.
Maybe it was the title. I don't know. But I have another client who that's his absolute favorite.
Crass title. I think
Absolute
you open up
favorite.
like that. Crass title, but a true statement.
But a true statement.
Yeah. But could be true. Yeah.
And again, if it's a system, then you're all feeding. If it's a dysfunctional system, everybody's feeding on each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a system will do.
Yeah.
If there's no self-differentiation,
Yeah. Absolutely.
everybody will just feed. They'll borrow and loan self all day,
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah. And you can keep doing that.
And anybody's free to keep doing it. I'm free to keep doing it
Right.
with no shame.
Yeah.
It's not a moral judgment. There's not a moral
Yeah.
decision.
Yep.
Everybody has a right to do and be where they are doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. So whatever we're doing, folks out there, our depression, it might help to ask, how is it serving you?
And serving the system.
And serving the system. That's right.